Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest. We can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing. Zero zip, nothing. Angel Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups? Not I.
What happens when Caitlin Clark isn't in the mix? The new basketball league found out the hard way, as their opening weekend ratings came in far from impressive. Reese's layup. Remember when Reese said this?
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Looks like the hype just collided with reality. Stick around as we break down the numbers, fan reactions, and what this means for the new 3-on-3 league, with Reese as its big draw. You won't want to miss this. Ready? Let's go.
Released the first television numbers, TNT did, and they're bragging about them because, well, they're the best they've ever been. Because they've only been once. It's like being the most handsome man at the Dockett's family reunion. It sounds good, but it really doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. Look, let's be honest. The new women's basketball professional 3-on-3 league. The numbers were released from TNT, and they are not very good.
Remember when Angel Reese claimed she was the reason people watch women's basketball? She was riding high after a moment during LSU's championship game against Iowa, showing up everywhere, talk shows, social media, and talking a lot about her star power. Reese made it clear she saw herself as the face of the sport, with everyone talking about Angel Reese. You think she saw herself as the next Michael Jordan?
And it's hilarious because it's my understanding now, she keeps telling us, Angel Reese keeps telling us that it's not just Caitlin Clark, that she's part of this brigade of women's basketball players that are leading all these new viewers into the WNBA. And I think it's these ratings right here that prove the biggest point.
Pride comes before a fall, and Reese just took a big one. The ratings are in, and they're not matching the hype. All that talk about people watching for Angel Reese? Well, the numbers aren't on her side, and it's not looking great for her.
This is more statistical data that proves no. Nobody's tuning in to see Angel Reese.
I'm not saying Reese is the only reason for these ratings. That wouldn't be fair. But when you talk a big game, you've got to back it up. And right now, those numbers are looking as flat as a deflated basketball.
TNT would have to do something to try to spin this in some kind of positive direction. And I just don't think there's a way to do it. Because Unrivaled, the women's basketball league, the new women's basketball league that we said would be dead on arrival without Caitlin Clark playing in it, was in fact dead on arrival. All right, let's just say unraveled already, and we just started.
How bad is it? Well, the first 2 days of Unrivaled games pulled in about 300,000 viewers. TNT called it the highest viewed women's basketball games in their history, but let's be real, that doesn't mean much with all the hype around the new league.
According to TNT PR, the two games on Friday night, the debut games for the new league, averaged 312,000 viewers. Now, I got to ask you, 312,000 viewers. Let's go to 300,011 viewers because there's probably 1,000 family members watching. What the hell? I mean, did you put your TV on? You're waiting for Charles Barkley on a Friday night hoops and you just left it on? I mean, what are you doing?
To put it in perspective, these numbers are similar to regular WNBA games without Caitlin Clark, and we all know what happens when Clark hits the court. Viewership soars to 1 million. So comparing an Unrivaled debut to the Caitlin Clark effect is like comparing a backyard pickup game to the NBA Finals.
The funniest part about these ratings that they've put out, I mean, God, TNT Sports must be dizzy with the level of spin they're trying to give this thing. And Front Office Sports tried to spin it too. No, the ratings are bad.
But wait, it gets worse. After starting strong with 300,000 viewers, Monday's ratings dropped to under 200,000 for the first game and just over 100,000 for the second. Ouch.
Fact, the viewership actually dropped between the first game and the second game from last Friday, the debut of Unrivaled. Now, why is that significant? Angel Reese played in the second game and they lost viewers from the first game. Now, once again, tell me how you're moving the needle, because people literally tuned out when your game came on.
You have to wonder what's going through Angel Reese's mind right now. Is she still convinced she's the draw she thought she was? Because these numbers are telling a very different story, and it's not a good one.
I didn't know that the Unrivaled League was playing. I saw highlights of it or lowlights of it, and I got to tell you, it's really bad.
You thought the ratings were bad? What's happening on the court is even worse. Unrivaled isn't just missing tough shots, it's missing wide open layups like it's a game of hot potato.
Can imagine missed layups from last night. Man, I mean, what is really going on here? You see that, and then whatever that is. I don't even know what that was. One more time. Oh my God! I'm gonna drive to the basket, and then I'm gonna mess the ball up. No layups. Whatever that is. We don't know what that is. They haven't identified exactly what the hell that is.
When Unrivaled was announced, fans were promised elite talent. What we got instead wasn't exactly highlight material. The opening weekend felt like a basketball purist's nightmare, shots flying over the backboard, fast breaks ending in fumble passes, and layups going awry.
Ended up being a blowout, was kind of unwatchable. And I also am just going to, that's one of the things I wanted to bring up here. I feel like I'm all over in this when I'm telling you my initial thoughts, but we need to be able to be more honest with our constructive criticism of women's basketball. And that was also one thing I noticed even with the commentary, sideline interviews, with the pregame show, postgame show. It felt like all of those were put in place as like a marketing tool for the play on the court, and it was just overwhelming praise.
But don't just take my word for it. Basketball analysts and former players have been tearing into the quality of play. One analyst didn't hold back, criticizing the league's overly positive coverage and calling for more honest, constructive criticism of women's basketball. Translation: this is bad, and we need to be able to say it.
All the things that they did are incredible, and that is all great things to point out, but we don't need to, like during the games, just be constantly praising and not calling out certain things like regular play-by-play commentary in studio shows would be doing. If you flip on an NBA game and one of the teams is getting blown out by 30, you're gonna have some things to say about it in that studio show to constructively criticize what's going on. And I think for me, that was a little bit of a turnoff with some of the commentary.
If you think that's tough, check out Monday's second game between the Laces Basketball Club, featuring Alyssa Thomas and Kate Martin, and the Miss Basketball Club, with Brianna Stewart and Jai Carrington. The final score was 63-43. The Mist only scored 43 points, and at one point a team was stuck at 4 for what felt like forever. It was like playing on carnival rims.
You have to start treating, and that's just an overarching thing I feel like in women's basketball media in general, there really hasn't been much room for criticism. And if you do criticize anything, it's like, oh, you're hating, just turn it off, this and that.
TNT drug its feet on getting these ratings out. I mean, again, the marketing spin they're trying to put on this is hilarious. TNT finally released the first television numbers for Unrivaled, the new women's professional 3-on-3 basketball league, and they aren't very good. Of course, TNT tried to spin the numbers as strong, but the facts state the obvious. No Caitlin Clark means no large audiences. However, one look at the WNBA ratings with Caitlin Clark shows just how much Unrivaled struggled without her. Heck, the Clark effect led to WNBA games that didn't even feature Clark drawing an average of 400,000 viewers. The WNBA drew millions of viewers for its championship series without Caitlin Clark. By the way, they were still embarrassingly low compared to games with Caitlin Clark. That last Indiana Fever playoff game had 2.64 million viewers or something like that. 2.64 million viewers.
Fever are going to be over 200,000 higher than the next highest total attendance in league history. Clarkonomics, my friend.
Which makes the obvious even more obvious. Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw in women's basketball, and without her, many fans just aren't going to tune in. Usually with a new league, viewership early, shoo, and then it settles in. This viewership, and now it'll settle in. Really, I missed Angel Reese on my phone playing. What?